He's not capable of handling cattle. You should never again handle cattle, in my opinion.
The voice you hear is John Gingrich, an Amish farmer in Carroll County, Missouri.
Those cattle got feelings. It's our duty to take good care of our cattle.
For religious reasons, Gingrich asked us not to show him or his family. But he agreed to this interview because he believes what happened on his land wasn't right.
We tried to refrain from getting angry, but it was hard to take.
It started when Gingrich heard Joey Nelson was looking for land to rent.
The offer that he had was reasonable as far as paying and all that.
He had heard about Nelson's past conviction for cattle fraud. But as a religious man, Gingrich says it seemed right to help him.
Seemed to be a very polite, friendly guy.
The number of cattle seemed reasonable too.
He needed a place for his about 105 cattle, and so we decided, well, we probably got some room here.
Gingrich's pastures seemed full enough with the first batch, but he says Nelson kept coming back.
We thought there's 105 head coming. There were 105 head, and directly another semi-load come in, and then another semi-load, and I was like, there's not enough room here.
Not enough room and not enough food.
Like 2 bales of straw and 2 bales of silage for 312 head wasn't even close to enough.
Gingrich says the overcrowding of animals nearly destroyed his pastures. And as the winter wore on, he noticed they were starving.
Growing up on a farm, sure, you got to know better.
Did Joey seem remorseful at all?
Oh, none. No remorse for anything.
It gets worse. Gingrich says Nelson wasn't removing the plastic wrapping that held the bales together. The hungry cattle were eating whatever they could.
We were watching them right there, eating the net wrap and manure right off the ground, trying to get some of it.
More than half the herd died in 3 months.
They just kept dying.
In the spring, Nelson hauled away what could still stand, but left the rest for Gingrich to clean up.
Stunk, big piles of manure, and plastic and net wrap all shoved together, and cattle, just all mixed in.
It was a disaster, it was a nightmare.
We spoke to a contractor Gingrich hired to help.
We spent all day just moving dead cattle around. Words can't describe how nasty this was.
He buried around 170 cattle in this pit on Gingrich's property. The farmer gave us permission to take this video of the bones, some of which still have plastic sticking out of them. He also showed us this 30-pound wad he found in one animal.
Every time I grab one of the cattle with a grapple, they just fall to pieces, and plastic wrap was everywhere inside the cattle.
The contractor asked to remain anonymous out of fear of Joey Nelson.
He should never had cattle. He shouldn't have had nothing to do with any livestock at all.
This isn't the first time we've heard of animals suffering in Nelson's care. Last week, we told you about these emaciated calves Nelson dropped off on David Foster's farm in Kansas.
That's not a herdsman. That's not a feedlot owner. That's not a farmer. Apparently he doesn't know what he was doing, because that's not normal.
Through all of this, Gingrich assumed the livestock on his land belonged to Nelson. He says he never called the police because he didn't want Joey to get in any more trouble than he'd already been in.
My goal is try to help everybody forward, not down.
But he says he did meet with Nelson's family. And when the cattleman found out, he wasn't happy.
Joey went off, pretty much off the rocker. The air was heavy with his cussing.
Nick and Justin Diemel disappeared a few months later. Their case is now a death investigation, and Nelson is a suspect. When Gingrich found out about the disappearance, he thought back to his experience.
The look in Joey's eyes that day convinced me that Joey would probably be able to hurt somebody.